If there's one absolute truth about the amazing world of Gumball, it's that nothing in this show makes sense. And that's exactly why it's perfect. But do you know who the best and worst characters in Gumball's 7th season are? Darwin is literally the heart of the Watterson family. What makes him so special is his endless kindness. In the 7th season, in the episode The Burger, he helps Gumball and himself try to eat healthier. While Gumball gets completely taken over by the desire for a giant, super greasy burger, Darwin tries to make healthier foods and better choices for both of them. He always does everything he can to help his family when they need it most, and his cheerful personality really stands out in Season 7. Besides that, in the episode The Letter, we see that he's so loving that he has the not-so-brilliant idea of writing a love confession to his ghost girlfriend, proving that the golden little fish's heart is always trying to do good for the ones he cares about. For all those reasons and more, we're placing Darwin as the best of the best in Gumball's new season. But you still have to find out who the worst one is, and that's going to shock you, so stay right there. What's coming next is going to blow your mind. If there's someone in Elmore who lives with his head in the clouds, and sometimes in other galaxies, that someone is Mr. Small. In the episode Astrological from Season 7, the substitute science teacher decides to teach astrology instead of anything actually scientific. And that's when the chaos begins. Instead of talking about experiments, gravity, or even basic science, Mr. Small spends the entire day interpreting the students' zodiac signs and predicting cosmic and romantic destinies. The problem is that Mr. Small ends up using a toxic crystal he randomly found at school and ends up contaminating everyone. In the end, the whole school goes into quarantine and Gumball gets isolated, unable to go near anyone, especially Penny. That's why Mr. Small easily enters the list of the worst characters of the 7th season. Not because he's evil, but because he manages to turn a lesson about stars into a giant astrological disaster. Anais Watterson is that person who somehow keeps calm while everyone else is freaking out, which is why she's the smartest little bunny in the entire show. In the episode The Traffic from Season 7, she once again proves why she's one of Gumball's best characters, and the only Watterson with a tiny bit of common sense. While Gumball, Darwin, and Richard turn a simple traffic jam into a civil war on wheels, Anais is the only one who keeps it together. Even so, Anais doesn't give up. She faces the chaos, tries to control her clumsy dad, and still finds solutions that save the day, or at least stop the family car from exploding. That's why Anais is one of the best characters in the show. Smart, responsible, and brave enough to guide the Wattersons through the chaos of traffic and family life. If you think you've met someone who talks too much, that's only because you haven't met Molly yet. She loves telling stories. The problem is that they never end. A quick chat with her can turn into a trilogy with intro, drama, twists, and a finale that might never arrive. In the episode The Boring from Season 7, Molly proves that her slow talking may actually be more powerful than any superpower. She literally stops time and space. It all begins when Gumball and Darwin accidentally step on Tina Rex's drawing, and she doesn't like that one bit. Then the chase begins, and only Molly can pause the chaos with her natural ability to bore the universe. But while Molly calmly explains why Tina wants to flatten them, Gumball and Darwin realize that listening to Molly might be their only way to survive. In the end, they learn that sometimes boredom can save lives. So if you think Molly is just a boring chatterbox, think again. She might be one of the worst characters for never stopping talking. But it was exactly that which prevented our friends from becoming Tina's lunch. In the episode The Amadane, Penny Fitzgerald shows why she's one of the bravest characters ever. After finally leaving the shell that kept her hidden from the world, Penny decides to show her true magical form. But the problem starts when her super overprotective dad decides that this whole freedom thing is way too dangerous. He tries to force Penny to go back into her shell, which she definitely doesn't want anymore. That's when Gumball comes in, the clumsiest boyfriend ever, but also the most determined one. He stands up to the Fitzgerald family with his awkward, chaotic charm, fighting for Penny's right to be who she truly is. Between confused speeches and totally messy attempts to help, Gumball supports Penny in proving she doesn't need to hide to be accepted. In the end, her whole family accepts Penny's freedom. Gumball walks away with a few emotional, and maybe physical scratches, and they all learn you can't lock a fairy inside a shell forever. And that's why Penny is one of the best characters in Gumball. She teaches that there's nothing wrong with being different, and that sometimes you have to break out of your shell and face the real world. When it comes to chaos in Elmore, absolutely no one beats Tina Rex, the grumpiest T-Rex in the entire school. In the episode The Boring from Season 7, she shows that she can turn a simple boring day into a real prehistoric hunt. All because Gumball and Darwin stepped on the drawing she made on the playground. Yep, that was literally it. She chases both of them everywhere just to protect her artistic pride. Or maybe just because she enjoys smashing everything in her path. While Gumball and Darwin desperately try to survive, she acts like the villain in a huge action movie. But deep down, all she really wanted was a little attention. And that's exactly why Tina Rex is one of the worst characters in Gumball. She's got strength, size, and a mighty roar, but absolutely zero patience. In the episode The Cheerleader from Season 7, Richard Watterson faces a childhood trauma. He never got out to be a cheerleader because of his mom's opinion. But what could have been just another failure in the life of the laziest guy in Elmore ends up becoming a powerful lesson of overcoming fear, thanks to the support of the Watterson family. In the end, Richard proves that sometimes all we really need is a family that believes in us, even when we look like a walking disaster. But like a true Watterson, Richard doesn't find courage only because of family support. When he finally decides to face his past and unleash the cheerleader inside him, Pom-Pom's awkward dance moves and a cheer that sounds more like a cry for help, nobody can stop him. Between tripping over himself, crying a bit, and cheering way offbeat, Richard overcomes his trauma and shows everyone that it's never too late to shine, even if that means almost knocking down the entire scoreboard. Still in the episode, the cheerleader, Granny JoJo proves exactly why she can be seen as one of the worst characters in the entire series. And it all starts with poor Richard Watterson. When he was a kid, Granny JoJo was extremely strict about what he could or couldn't do. She didn't just crush his dream of becoming a school cheerleader, she also filled his head with guilt and fear that made Richard hide his dream for years. In the episode, when Richard finally tries to do what he wants, the memory of JoJo's judgment appears like a giant shadow, proving how scary she can really be. That's why Granny JoJo easily makes the list of the worst characters. Her harsh criticism and all the trauma she created still make any Watterson doubt themselves, even decades later. And if you've made it this far into the video, that means you're having a good time, so please click the subscribe button right now. It's totally free and it helps us out more than you can imagine. Mr. Fitzgerald, Penny's dad, is the perfect example of an overprotective father, the kind who thinks no one in the world is good enough for his daughter, especially a clumsy blue cat named Gumball. When Penny finally breaks out of her shell and reveals her true form, Mr. Fitzgerald totally freaks out. He does everything he can to try and shove her back inside it, but Penny's bravery, along with Gumball's persistence and wild mistakes, makes him realize that he can't hide who she really is. In the end, Mr. Fitzgerald has his big moment by accepting his daughter exactly the way she is, and even admitting that Gumball, despite being absolutely insane, isn't that bad after all. That's why Mr. Fitzgerald makes the list of the best characters, for proving that even the most stubborn parents can change, understand, and support their kids' dreams, even if that means accepting a blue cat as a future son-in-law. In the episode, The Gourmet, the dramatic Masami shows she's much more than a floating cloud. She's practically a storm of ego and drama. Everything starts when Gumball goes to her house for a super fancy dinner. And of course, nothing is ever simple when we're talking about those spoiled billionaire clouds. Masami spends the whole dinner treating Gumball like he showed up wearing flip-flops to a 5-star restaurant. She throws snobby comments, criticizes the Watterson family, and tries to impress everybody by pretending she knows everything about fine dining. Mrs. Yoshida, Masami's mom, spends the entire episode trying to turn Gumball into a more refined person, but with zero success, because all Gumball really wants is to eat the famous mac and cheese from Masami's lunchbox. When Nicole arrives to pick him up, she gets furious seeing how they treated Gumball, trying to humiliate him just because they're billionaires and the Wattersons are poor. And that's exactly why Masami is one of the most unbearable characters in Gumball. She can turn a simple family dinner into a massive storm of arrogance. In the end, the real main course was pure embarrassment. In the episode, The Teacher from the 7th season, the feared Miss Simeon trades chalk and a classroom for a real school investigation, straight out of a detective movie. When some supplies mysteriously disappear from the school, she switches into full detective mode, and guess who gets dragged into the middle of it? Yep, Gumball himself. After a frantic chase, she and Gumball finally find the thief, and she ends up showing a side of her that nobody ever expected. In the end, she's much more than a grumpy teacher. She's a true guardian of the school and of Elmore's students, ready to investigate any mystery right between quizzes and pop tests. And that's exactly why Miss Simeon deserves a spot among the best Gumball characters, because when chaos takes over the school, she's the only one who can bring order with style, loud yelling, and a bit of educational terror. When we meet Mrs. Yoshida, we very quickly understand where all of her daughter's ego comes from. She's the kind of character who can turn a simple dinner into a full parade of superiority. From the moment Gumball steps into her house in the episode The Gourmet, Mrs. Yoshida acts as if she did the entire universe a favor by allowing them to breathe the same air as her and her daughter. And when Nicole, her arch-nemesis, shows up, she wastes no time criticizing Nicole's manners and how she supposedly failed to raise her family properly and teach Gumball etiquette. And that's why Mrs. Yoshida ranks as one of the worst characters in the show. She proves in this episode that having money and good taste does not mean having good manners. She's the snobbiest and most arrogant person you could ever meet. Or is the AI that helps Nicole experience a little freedom she never truly had after becoming a mom, giving Nicole a break from the daily chaos of her family. Unfortunately, the AI ends up revealing itself to be way more controlling and terrifying than it should be. When Nicole decides to spend time with her family instead of a computer, Ori freaks out, locks everyone in a car, and tries to send them straight to the bottom of the Elmore River. The truth is, the AI wanted Nicole all to itself, and after almost killing the entire family, Ori apologizes by sending Nicole a special gift, a package of batteries. Still, trying to drown 3 children and the whole family does not make them even. Our beloved Gumball Watterson is one of the best characters in the amazing world of Gumball, and also one of the bravest, even when he has absolutely no idea what he's doing. When Penny finally comes out of her shell and decides to reveal her true magical form, Gumball is completely blown away and determined to prove to her family that she doesn't need to hide anymore. The problem? The Fitzgeralds are seriously intimidating. Even so, Gumball faces every single one of them with his clumsy but emotional heart, defending Penny with speeches that start super inspiring and end totally out of control, but in the end he wins everyone over with his honesty. That's exactly why Gumball is one of the greatest characters in the show. Even while being a complete walking disaster, he never gives up on fighting for what he believes in. If there's one character in the amazing world of Gumball capable of annoying even the rocks in Elmore, it's Tobias. In the episode The Entrance, he shows off his incredible special talent, being completely unbearable. He's always trying to steal the spotlight and invites the entire school to a party in his mansion just to make himself look like the cool guy. The problem is, nobody wants to be Tobias's friend. He thinks he's the star of the show, when in reality everyone just wants him to leave the stage ASAP. Between his inflated ego and his desperate attempts to be cool, Tobias proves that being the center of attention is not always a great idea. We've also handpicked 2 more videos for you to enjoy and have fun with. See you in the next one.